r/AskReddit asks, what dish is extremely easy to prepare, but makes you look like an incredible chef? Crème brûlée. You just make custard and then torch sugar on top of it. People think it's fancy and you get to play with fire. Whisk 1 egg yolk with 1 terabyte sugar until smooth, add 1/4 heavy cream and a bit of vanilla. Multiply recipe as needed, 1 yolk per person or so. Pour into buttered ramekin, bake in a water bath at about 350 F until set, jiggly but not watery. Let cool, then refrigerate, then top with sugar and brûlée when ready to serve. It's not mac and cheese level easy, but after you screw up once or twice you can make egg yolk ravioli pretty effortlessly and people will think you're a Michelin-starred chef. Most difficult part is maybe making the pasta dough, which isn't really difficult. Source: I have a chunk of egg pasta dough frozen from last week. Nice try BuzzFeed. Tell us your favorite easy dish to make, and we'll let you know what type of cancer you're going to die from. Baked brie. Take a puff pastry sheet, let it thaw out a bit. Wrap a wheel of brie inside the puff pastry and bake it for like 20 minutes at 400 F. Flaky, gooey goodness. Serve it with some bread or crackers and it's the perfect appetizer. For bonus points, add a layer of your favorite jam or roasted garlic on top of the brie before wrapping. Some additions: top the brie before wrapping it with the puff pastry with brown sugar, cranberries, and chopped nuts. Egg wash the puff pastry before baking it. Coq au vin. It's French and fancy sounding, but it's basically just stew. Boiling a chicken in wine. Easy pasty. Pasta olio olio, highlighted on the movie Chef. Only 8 ingredients, made in less than 15 minutes, and will impress most. I'm a Navy brat and my mom mostly learned to cook from her Italian friends when we were stationed in Naples. Very lucky for me since her own ma was of the culinary school of, boil everything to death. Great at desserts though, Miss UG ma, though our family seemed real weird eating so much Italian Greek food. Once we came back to the States we ate olio all the time. It was one of the first dishes I learned to make, and I was so proud of it until one of my redneck friend pointed out that it's basically a slightly fancy version of butter noodles, poor people food in my neck of the woods. In retrospect it makes a lot of sense how much we ate it, because we were definitely struggling. Steak for sure, because there's nothing worse than an overcooked steak. There are a lot of different ways to make a steak, but I prefer just using the cast iron because it's quick and easy. Hot cast iron with lots of oil, heavily salted and peppered. Also pat the steak dry with a paper towel. Moisture is the enemy of a good sear. Cook on both sides for 3 minutes, and finish by basting with butter. Let sit for 5 minutes and serve. If you're feeling fancy, put garlic and thyme or rosemary in with the butter, or cook an onion or shallots in the leftover butter. A pro brie sandwich. It isn't hard to wrap brie with prosciutto, but put that bitch on some ciabatta bread with greens and a balsamic glaze and you look like a pro. Things like sautéed onions, mushrooms, and peppers plus tofu in some sort of sauce. Or stir fry. Caesar salad. Just make a regular salad and get a group of people to stab it. Lasagna. Seems all fancy, but you're really just slapping on layers of food. If you put a lasagna on top of another lasagna, you only have one lasagna. Alfredo. It's literally just heavy cream, butter, cheese, and spices, salt, pepper, oregano, basil, and a dash of paprika. I also like to add a bit of balsamic vinegar. Takes less than 15 minutes to make, including boiling the pasta. Just made this last night. 1 stick butter, 1 cup heavy cream, 8 ounces grated Parmesan. Super easy. Pair with fresh pasta and you've got an impressive dish with very little work. I hate to be that guy, but honestly, get a sous vide device, and your steak or pork chops will blow people away, even if you didn't really put much effort into making them or try a reverse sear. Bake at a low temperature, 120 degrees Celsius until the internal temperature is right, then sear in a super hot skillet. Gets you much of the same benefits as sous vide, but uses something you probably already have, an oven, and even get you a better sear, because the surface of the meat is drier. Omelette. But when you add the salt. My grandmother used to say something similar, don't add salt or pepper during the cooking or the eggs will end up tough. I've experimented both ways, and didn't notice a toughening, or wateriness or grayness. I've also read and seen commentary by professional chefs that say that, not only is the advice incorrect, that it also has the potential to decrease the amount of benefit you get from the spices since they are not fully incorporated into the eggs. So I am curious about your observation. Have you tested to determine its accuracy, or is it, heard it from my grandmother type thing like mine was? Risotto. Actually super easy to make and incredibly delicious with the right ingredients. Do some sort of sauce and seasonal roasted vegetables and you're set. Toast it first. Melt butter in the pan, I do about 2 tablespoons, enough to coat the rice. Toast over medium heat until the rice is golden brown. Also, make sure the rice takes as much liquid as possible. I usually get about 4 cups of stock per cup of rice. Anything with lots of seasoning on it. Curry, oregano, black pepper, rosemary, fresh herbs, garlic, ginger. Just learn how to use them, don't be cheap, practice and anything you cook will be delicious. Couldn't agree more. I can't believe all the dishes I have tried that were just so plain. A little bit of spice goes a long way and completely changes the flavor. With white rice I use garlic pepper, ground mustard, salt and pepper. It's a completely different food. Oreo truffles. Run a package of Oreos through a food processor, mix in a block of cream cheese, roll into balls and dip in melted chocolate. Fried eggs. Too many people can't fry eggs to save their lives, so you'll look like a genius if you do it right. And it is easy. Edit. Here's my recipe. YMMV. Heat a big dollop of butter in a heavy frying pan over a low heat. When the butter melts, swirl it round to coat the pan. Add your eggs, LPT, crack the eggs into a saucer, then slide them into the pan and season them with generous amounts of salt, pepper and oregano. Get a pan lid that is smaller than the pan, and cover the eggs and leave for 3 minutes. Take them off that heat and leave to stand for another minute or so, and serve. Stuffed chicken breasts. You can stuff them with lots of things. It's pretty easy and looks very fancy. You just need a salad and maybe some garlic bread to be super fancy. Stuffed pork chops and twice-baked potatoes are also impressive looking without a ton of skills needed. Poached fish. Bournoisette infused with citrus or whatever, puree, potato, parsnip, Hamburg root, parsley and or celeriac, season with miso paste or whatever takes your fancy while mixing the puree, garnish, haricot verts, snap peas, asparagus, cherry plum tomatoes, beetroot crudite, or roasted point cabbage. A spaghetti dinner. Sketty sauce, with option of ground turkey with caramelized yellow onion, green beans and garlic butter, and garlic bread. Add garnishments on cheese, like basil and shredded parmesan. Edit. Forgot the onions. Mussels. Really easy. Pull the beards off in cold water. Fry onion and garlic, toss the mussels with some wine, a few shakes and done. Can always add a bit of cream if you are really trying to impress. Steak au poivre. Super easy to make, tastes delicious, and includes a show by lighting cognac on fire midway through to deglaze the pan. 10/10 would recommend.